Hello, my name is Greg Dixon with Total Traffic and Conversion. I'm here with Roy Dickan, Withrow, and Suwanda is our special guest. And it's been an interesting day. And our topic today is your business from 30,000 feet. A lot of people avoid ever looking at their business ever, but unless it's in the your New Year's resolution to look at your business, at the beginning of the year. But maybe it's worthwhile taking a high level view of your business once a week anyway, to just take a look and see, where am I and why am I here? So on that, I think Betty, could you introduce your guest today?
I'm very happy to. As soon as she comes back, I'll do that. We've been having video issues on and off all day today.
Yes, we have.
Maybe it's the leprechauns. I'm not sure what's going on exactly, but
maybe it's the phones.
It could be the phone. It could be indeed the phone. So anyway, here we go. I'll introduce Wanda right now. Here is Wanda Thomas, who I've met in networking online. And we've been having conversations on and off for a while, and they're always fun and amusing. I'm learning more and more about what Zwanda does all the time. And Zwanda, would you like to tell us about your business, and what your business does, and what lights you up?
I would love to. I work for a company that's in California. They're based out of California, but they fund small businesses in and out the country. So say you need $100,000, they may be able to, depending upon what your needs are. We accommodate your needs, and we try to get to what you're asking for, so that way you'll be able to have what you need. A lot of these companies, they like to build other things, add additions to their company, or they're hurting for to purchase something that they need, and we just kind of aid them in that way. It is a really good company, but at the same time, it's transitioning, because there's a lot of people since COVID that are not wanting to get money from other companies, because they know that they have to pay it back at a certain percentage, and a lot of them are hurting, and they're still recovering from COVID, and a lot of people don't realize that economically, the small businesses is what keeps economics flowing properly. And that right now is what's happening. We're transitioning into quantum. So I've been doing a lot of, research and stuff into quantum physics, and it's just really a lot of fun. And it's good to see that businesses are trying to, get out there and survive, but it's so hard with funding and trying to, stay above water, not being certain whether or not a new pandemic is going to come up or not, or if there's something else that's going to happen, or if we're in a recession and everything's going to crash, or nobody is certain right now. So it's really important to be able to financially to be able to be cautious of what you do with your spending, especially when it comes to your company. If you're whatever company that you may have or you're trying to create.
Yeah, well, those are all good and valid points. We're bearing with the technical situations today. They're varied. I mean, I'm here in California, where a lot of things are touch and go right now. Road repairs are underway. Floods are being mitigated. Crops are hoping to be planted. So now Wanda's back, and we're all good. So
sorry about that, guys. So yeah, like the company itself, if you're looking for funding, we can definitely help you, but it is a company whereas you do have to pay a certain percentage back. And, I personally try to get you the lowest percentage possible, so that way you have an extended time to do it, so that way you're able to do it. But I really hope that people understand where we are economically, and that take the time out to see whether or not that actually works for them. Because if you can go another route, I really suggest that you do. And if you can't, then we will be nothing. It would make us more than happy to help you with whatever it is that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of companies do you like to fund? What would be your best prospects?
Well, we do small, like diners, we do restaurants. We do a lot of restaurants because around wintertime they like to expand, and they do their best businesses during the spring and the summertime. So they like to expand on whether or not make it bigger or whatever the case may be. And restaurants, we do different delis, we do bowling alleys, we do it's a variety of things. We do some now people we're starting with people that are opening up this marketing group, and we're starting to expand a little bit more into certain companies. They don't do non-for-profit, and they don't do like a CD, something, say a Lyft or anything that has to do with legal marijuana, because I think a lot of people have to be told that we're not going to fund you on that. But it's just certain, for the most part, it's a lot of restaurants.
So restaurant is your best prospect at this point in time.
It is. Well, for the most part, we do deal with a lot of restaurants. We do, and there is there's other things as well. It depends on what your criteria is, and it also depends on the information that you're giving us about what you're asking for. Like, if I submit your application to my boss and he says, well, you know what, I'll approve it, you go do the paperwork on it, then that's what I'll do. I'm not an underwriter, so I can't, approve or decline you, but I can definitely prepare you for, to make you look good on paper, so that way you can get what you're asking for.
So how do you kind of decide what you might be? I know this isn't your function, but how does it seem like?
Okay.
Okay, we'll wait for Wanda to jump back in here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She might be able to hear us.
Yeah.
But we don't know that for sure.
Yeah. That's a really interesting technology thing.
So when you bounce out, can you still hear us?
I'm not sure what this is, but
yeah, I was having phone problems today, so it's probably the phones. But but when you bounce out like that, can you still hear us?
No. I have to log.
Oh, you lose your connection. Okay. All right. So how do you decide, or not how you decide, but how does it seem your company decides what kind of money they might be willing to lend? Are you looking at receivables?
We do. I deal with a lot of banks, like your bank statements. I get
okay,
tons of different, but you're like that. You send in your bank statements. There's tons of different people with a lot of different banks, and what we do is they'll send in. You'll give me your bank statements, and I go through what your volume in, and if your volume in a certain amount, then it looks as if you can possibly get what you want. But you have to be volume in a certain amount in order to be able to ask for a certain amount.
And over how long a period of time?
Well, the beginning is you have to be in business for a year, and then after a year, it depends. If you're in business for 6 months and your volume in over $100,000 and you're asking for $200,000, 9 times out of 10 they're going to consider you for something. So it really depends on what your volume in. Yeah.
Okay. Now there are a lot of messages that I get on my phone of how they want to fund my company, and they've got so much money set aside. Are any of those legitimate or?
Absolutely not. We don't set aside anything. They work with the banks itself. So when you send in your bank statements and stuff, they actually take the time out, and you're part of the entire process. So if they're trying to make you not feel like as if you're a part of the process, something is wrong. And they don't put money aside or anything. It's about dealing with the banks, and they deal directly with certain banks, the company that I work for. So therefore.
Okay. Well,
so Burke, we're having a lot of fun with Wanda going in and out. So
all right.
But we're glad you're here.
Thanks. I was on another conversation. I got Betty's link. I went, oh my God, I got to get on this thing 20 minutes late. So sorry about that.
Well, I started the thing off late a long time ago. So
yeah,
it's been that kind of day.
We've all been late. At least we got here somehow.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Nobody was snowed in. Nobody had money in Silicon Valley Bank. Everything's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Betty, you want to introduce Burke here?
Sure. I'm very happy to introduce Burke. I met Burke in a networking group through Roy. And Burke and I have had a couple of really great conversations going on about different topics, including the importance of a business plan and how most people do not have one, which well, not most people, but how if you don't have a business plan, you're clearly not going to win at getting funded for your business, which actually ties right back into what Wanda was presenting and the topic of 30,000 feet, look down at your business. So Burke, would you like to take off from that and tell us more about what you do?
Well, I've got Roy, you've seen, well, you haven't, no, you guys have seen it. It's an online dashboard. I created a product called Biz Plan Builder some 30 years ago. I was helping a friend. I worked for Texas Instruments for a couple of years selling electronics. I parlayed that into the job as the electronics buyer with the Sharper Image catalog. And then after that, I was writing copy for the catalog, and I discovered a word processor in Silicon Valley, sold those for a while. And then that ended because Macs and PCs pretty much killed those things. And then a friend of mine called up and said, hey, I need a business plan. Apple wants to see my business plan because they want to buy my engineering software. And at the time, the SBA had done a study of businesses that failed, the proverbial 4 out of 5 businesses that failed. And they found that 60 some odd % of them had no business plan. So Apple wanted to see his business plan to be sure his company would stay in business to develop and support the product. So I knew nothing about business plans. I knew how to market. I knew how to make brochures. I knew how to make a catalog. I read up on business plans, and I realized that, I'm selling basically the business idea to these guys. They want to understand everything about the business, all the details, all their research, what they're about, everything about the business. Long story short, we got the deal. And over the next year, I was helping people with both business plans, helping them make sense to investors. And this was in Silicon Valley. And they just weren't getting it. It wasn't I was going to pitch me, and I would say, well, you got to show me this, explain that to me. I had an ancient history professor way back when, and I would write these papers, which I thought were brilliant, but they were bullshit. And so, but it's what we're all doing in school. We're all bullshitting our way through papers, which is kind of what we all do. But you get in front of a room full of VCs. They all got MBAs. They've all been used to BSing their way through papers, and they want details now. This is time. If they're looking at you at all, they're looking at a handful to 100 other deals, and they want to see details. And this is where my ancient history professor would say things like, what are you talking about? Give me an example. Prove it. Show me. Name names, dates, times, places. Give me all that stuff. Give me an example. And so that's really what I was explaining to these people they needed to have. And about a year into doing this for people, two things. One, I saw that a lot of people have some really great ideas, things that I thought, like, this needs to make it in the world. And you need to be able to build a business around this thing. Because back as a kid, I remember, maybe you guys remember the 200 mile per gallon carburetor, if you ever read Popular Mechanics or Popular Science. And I always wonder, whatever happens to things like that good? Why aren't we getting 200 miles per gallon today? Anyway, so at the same time, they had great ideas, but they were BSing their way through it, and they weren't coming across right. And so I helped them, and one of them actually got a deal with Kleiner Perkins, who is one of the top tier VC firms in Silicon Valley. And that was it was a win. But here I am a year into this thing, and I'm standing in the shower one day thinking, if I see another crappy business plan, I'm going to hurt somebody. Why don't I just take all this content I've developed and create this template? Now, the first thought was I wanted to create the ultimate business plan for myself, just in case I came up with a great idea that I wanted to pitch. And then it occurred to me in the process of creating this business plan that, wait, that's the product. That is the big idea. And so it became Biz Plan Builder. And I, got it packaged up, and we sold it in stores, sold it to Egghead when Egghead software existed. And after that, I followed up with Marketing Builder, which picked up where the business plan left off. I had Publicity Builder, which added press releases and a whole PR tutorial. We added Employee Handbook Builder, Employee Manual Builder, which is now evolved into 200 policies, and procedures for a business. I'm in California. It's crazy here, but they all really apply. And we also have Safety Plan Builder, which has got 161 safe work practices in it. So the idea is, at one point back in the day, we had 10 products, in about 3,500 stores, doing about $13 million in sales, and I had 30 people. And so the idea, it was that, so I can using those tools myself and other people using the tools and getting feedback and revolving them over the years. And the latest evolution is all of them integrated together into an online dashboard. And I rebranded to Business Power Tools. And that's what it is today. And so that's what I'm offering. I think of consultants, every consultant I've talked to wishes their client had a business plan, but really nobody wants to do it. So what's the best way to do it? We could start with my template and coach the client through doing it themselves. And the idea would be, okay, work on that market analysis section and call me on Tuesday and we'll go over it. And they end up keeping the whole project going. But now the company really they've got like a catalog of everything about the company, all aspects of the company, what the customer problem is, what the solution is, all that stuff. Oh, thanks for showing my web page. Anyway, so I make spreadsheets like this. Like this spreadsheet here is called How Much Is Enough? Because I was sitting in my office in Silicon Valley one day thinking, there are these billionaires out there. How hard do I have to work to make $1 billion? And I thought, wait a minute, how much money do I really need? Do I need $1 billion? Do I need 100 million? So I think, well, I'll just make a list of all the stuff I want to buy, do, and have. And then, okay, what's that going to cost? And am I going to finance it? And you can see the rest of the spreadsheet. But the idea is to really put together your financial goal. And it does that. But anyway, so what was I going to say about all that? So that's what it's evolved into today. So I'm working with consultants and now business brokers. I come to find out, I'm talking to a few business brokers. I said, so what are you seeing out there? And they're saying, well, unfortunately, most businesses that we're trying to sell are a train wreck behind the scenes. They haven't got a plan. They've just I think of it, I use the term loosely, like a brochure to sell the upside of this business. What's the future of this business? That's what they're buying. And they also want to be buying fundamentally kind of like a turnkey operation like a McDonald's. Why does McDonald's sell for so much money? Well, it's dialed in. It's all figured out. It's an operation and it's going. It's not somebody holding it together but with a bunch of chewing gum and chopsticks. And so, so I was talking to somebody the other day saying, well, I just succeeded in business in spite of myself, in spite of my train wreck. Well, he also succeeded because his competitors are also a train wreck. But the idea here is to really have you get your business dialed in where you've got your employee policies in place, job descriptions, safety plan, policies and procedures, all the good stuff in there. And performance reviews, people suck at performance reviews. How do you tell an employee what they should be doing? And so there's sample documents to help do that. So it's kind of a Swiss Army knife of most of the things that most businesses either neglect, either because they don't know how, they don't think of it, it's not an emergency, the disaster hasn't happened yet. And so the tools will handle the disaster, but they'll also prevent the disaster. And so I could walk you through Business Power Tools. You'd see all these different financial models, documents. And the secret sauce is the documents are written for you. You're going to edit them. They're not like you get some of these sample plans I see from SCORE and SBA. It's like, here's a blank sheet of paper. Describe your management team here. What does that even look like? You have no idea. You look at mine, and I've got the copy in there. You're just going to edit the text, and for me, so it's kind of collapsing webinars, books, classes, and everything into just all overlaid onto. While we're doing this project, you're going to build your own business in the process, and that's what it enables. And a lot of one of our marketing adages I remember way back when was that if selling a new customer takes about 5 times as much as going to one of your existing customers and selling them your next thing. And so for consultants, they've already got the client, but this is a whole bunch of extra things now they can do for clients they already have. So the sale's pretty easy. You can show them a lot of stuff you can do. It's all white labelable. You put your logo on it, make it look like it's yours, and the client can put their logo on it as well. And so that's the long and short of it without actually demoing the system for you. But you can see there's a brief demo on my homepage where I step you through it. You can see it. So the idea is everything works alike and works together. You could probably take 100 of other apps all together to get this, but you don't have to learn them all. That's really been my concern over the years in the software business, or just working with tools. We've all have them. How many more software tools can you possibly figure out how to use? I'm kind of running out of room up here to be able to handle all these different products. So I wanted to make something that was consistent. So you could, consultants could have dozen to 100 clients all in the same system, they'd all have their own subscription. That we may all make more money that way, but the security is built around that. So your whole business would be in one dashboard. But from the consultant's perspective, where you could log in and collaborate, you could have the same common platform for all your clients, which keeps that from being crazy making. Is there anything else I should add to that, Betty? I think I showed it to you. That's
that was a great expose of it. I mean, we did take quite a tour through your system, and I was just blown away, because there's all these different things that people don't even think about when they think that their idea and their passion is going to make their business succeed. Well, yes, but no. I mean, that's the fuel, but if you don't have a good car, you're not going anywhere. And with what you've got here, they can build literally from scratch something that actually works. And I think you also told me a story about somebody who went through it all and said, you saved me because I realized my idea wouldn't work and I didn't lose my
this is like a baby was about to burn his retirement on some cockamamie idea, which it probably sounded great, but then he just spent $150, went through the business plan. And I tell people in the financial model, don't try to make it seem like I'm going to sell 10 of these a day when you're going to sell one a month. Don't try to make the numbers so that they turn black at the other end, because if they are still red, you may want to rethink what you're doing here. And he said,
you can't count on selling one, But if you can, if you can sell 10, you could probably sell 100, and then you can sell 1,000, and then
you can do the math on that. But if the initial assumptions don't fly, then the rest of the arithmetic isn't going to help.
Yeah, and just because people say there's $10 billion in this industry, right? And if I only get 1% of the share, well,
bam, right there. There's a bullet to the head. You say 1% anytime in my financial model, I say, okay, we're going to get you can say get a 0.9% market share or a 1.1. But if you say 1%, I'm going to come over there and hurt you, because it's just one of those things. And then if you really want to add insult to injury, say, and our numbers are conservative.
Yeah. So is this something that someone that wants to start a business would want to have, so that they knew what they were doing from the beginning?
Ideally, yeah. I mean, that's really where the whole thing started, was exactly that. Unfortunately, today you'll hear people say, well, and these are mostly the participation trophy winners, who will say things like, well, I just need a pitch deck and a smile, and I'll raise $10 million at a unicorn valuation, and they'll write me a check right there on Shark Tank.
Well, maybe, yeah. And probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
We've seen quite a few people run out of the den and Shark Tank.
Yeah. But yeah, Roy, to your point, that's where I started. That's really the best application for it. However, I put together kind of a list of all the way along through the business. So let's say you get startup, and then I am a big advocate of bootstrapping. So doing as much as you can without money, because even that, you can go to the investors and say, look at what I've accomplished with nothing, or what little I have, or what I get from my mom and dad, whatever. And now we get this thing smoldering. Now with some gas, we can really blow this thing up. Well, that's good. And then you've got the people who've just got funded. Let's say you did get that $1 zillion with a pitch deck and a smile, and now you've got the money. And the 4 or 5 of us are sitting here, let's doing a business. What are we going to do with the money? Because we sure as hell don't want to go back to the investors and say, that money you gave us, we blew it on a sock puppet Super Bowl commercial, and we need some more.
I worked for a few companies in the smokeandmirrors.com era. They had more money than sense.
Yeah, they wrote their business plan on an envelope, and everybody, more power to them. I should have done that myself. A VC told me at the time, said, Burke, your biggest problem is you're profitable. We can do the math on you. You can't get that valuation as, you're worth $20 million right now, just looking at you, versus, and so there's strategic planning. It does. It's got the strategic plans baked into it. If it's a nonprofit, it's a tax status. It's not a management style. You're still running a business. I don't care who you are. So you really have to dazzle the investors with how efficient
nonprofits too. Okay.
Yeah, how efficient you're going to be with the money. you can't be, you've got to show the donors that you're actually achieving. I'm going to donate to your thing because
Very interesting.
you're feeding animals. I want my money to go to carrots for the donkeys. I don't want the money to go to your new car. So, and then of course, selling it, you want to show the upside. This baby's got legs. That's
a big one right there, because I know people that try to sell businesses, and it seems like this would be invaluable for them to have each of their potential sales to put it all together, and they always take time to teach these people how to look like they're worth buying. But if they had this, it would seem that this would really be a much easier way to make a company look good. But the reason I asked is because I'm talking to a couple of companies that, well, they're not even companies yet, but the people have retired and they want to do something. They've got some money coming in, but they don't want to just sit at home every day, or maybe they will sit at home every day, but they want to be able to do something.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they want to do something that they wish they could have done instead of work. But now that they're finished working, maybe they can do that. And this would maybe give them an idea if what they're thinking about would even be profitable. Is that a possibility with
because there's a financial model where you could start, you build it up. I build it from the bottom up, and it helps them. You can see how this would play out. So if you're selling one a month, or the proverbial 1% or whatever, you can put some reality around that and see what's going to happen. So exactly.
Is this something where you sell one thing, but then you've got some other things to sell to that same person, and some other things to sell to that same person?
Yeah. I've taken the 10 products and basically broken them down, but put them into like 3 fundamental categories. One of them is all about planning, finance, funding, strategic planning, all that part, the financial models. And then one is the sales and marketing and social media stuff, all in that category, PR. And then there's the HR policies, the safety plan, the procedures, and all of that in a third category. So the business plan's like $27 a month. The marketing category is $37 a month. The HR is $47 a month, and all of them are $97 a month. And then so there's that. And then I do offer some consulting with it. Although I don't want to poach in front of other people who are consulting that. If I can help you with your client, they're still your client. But if I can help you, I'm looking for subscribers. So if you rounded up a dozen of your clients and you wanted me to demo it to them all, I could do it for you, and happy to have them in there. And you charge them whatever you want to charge them to help them the way you do.
Yeah, well, what I would do probably, because that's what I usually do, where I can use somebody else's services which make the deal better. I just include it in a monthly fee, which is kind of what Betty and Greg and I do anyway.
Yeah.
So, but particularly I'm looking at ones that might want to start companies, and I'm looking at people that rather than, just trying to get by, they've actually got some money to work with, because they want to be able to save tax dollars. So they don't mind spending a little bit. They don't want to spend a lot, but they've got a budget.
Yeah.
Or they could have a budget if they knew how to establish one, because they've actually got the money coming in.
Well, the good idea is to play it out on paper first before you see it, because you could think, how we think things in our heads, and then we say it and somehow it doesn't sound the same as I thought it, and then if you write it down, you could have think that the big part of it is going through it and thinking through the market analysis. Really, are there some risks? Are there any government things I got to deal with? And it's evolved over 30 years, and it's not bloatware, but it just seems like a lot. But businesses are complicated, and the menu tree has got check boxes, so you don't have to use all of it. I mean, you can, but you don't need to use all of it. So, but I'm just saying, it really helps you think. It triggers thinking. Like, do I need to think about this section? Yes or no? Am I manufacturing something? If you aren't, uncheck a half a dozen boxes right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get a lot from your website by looking at it and seeing a demo and things like that.
Yeah, I'm happy to demo it for you, Roy, anytime you want. So
Okay, yeah, we should do that because I want people to be able to set up so that then they need me to help them attract clients on a regular basis, but I don't want to really take them from the beginning.
right.
I have done that, and that's not really my cup of tea. I've even, had them set up an LLC and I helped them do all that and all, which I have to do in order to get somebody that really doesn't know how to do that to the point where they can actually become a client. But
We have LLC. We have the LLC docs in there as well.
Yeah,
There we go.
I mean, if it could be a template, I don't get into accounting. I'm not trying to compete in that area. It's really all that other stuff that nobody really does. I don't do marketing funnels. Some of those things, I don't do any of that, but it's all that other stuff that I think most people just plain miss.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're a good collaborator with us for some, and for some new people that I'm looking at, this might be the proper way for them to get started because they're not even ready for me, but I can convince them to do it. But then I need to give them a first step. So
and you could just, your job would be to, come on, keep going, do the next section. Okay. Do the management team section. Call me on Tuesday. We'll go over it.
Yeah.
Okay, work on this section.
Very interesting.
So and the other thing, what you'll see in there's videos. Each section has a video. Looks just like this. Hi, here's what you're supposed to do. It's not quite, but it's me anyway, talking to them about each section. Like what is a lender or an investor looking for in this section? And they're a minute to maybe 5 minutes tops that I just explain to them. Kind of, it's like a movie director explaining to the actor what's going on in this scene right here. And so it's a little bit of tutorial, and it's a minute to 5 minutes each time that you don't have to spend explaining it to them. I do that. And then there's the template that's written, so they've already got the idea. Then there's an explanation even with that. There's some documentation that goes with it. So it's designed to be do-it-yourself. Yet it's kind of like maybe a guided do-it-yourself might be a way of looking at it. Let's write that down. I keep coming up with different ways of explaining this. My challenge really is, which you guys can all appreciate, is how do you I got the product market fit. I'm convinced of that, but I don't quite have the language market fit because the language keeps changing. I mean, there's a new term called sales enablement. What's that? Sales enablement. Here, I'm in charge of sales enablement. Like, sales enablement? I mean, who makes this stuff up?
That sounds like jargon to me.
Oh my God. Yeah, I've seen on LinkedIn, I'm in charge of sales enablement. Isn't that kind of like marketing? Is that?
It sounds like jargon, Burke.
It is. It's someone who says they don't want to call themselves a salesperson. I'm supposed to sell you this product. I'm going to call it sales, and I'm going to enable you to buy it.
That's silly, yeah.
Anyway, that's our challenge, is how do you keep up with people that are not educated? They make up new words to say the same old thing. And
anyway. I don't think there's any value in going that direction. I try to take, what Google's doing and these other social media companies and bring it down into something that people can understand. And Betty's excellent at this stuff too. And
I'm a big fan of plain English. Yeah.
And I try to even take it to I started taking it to the 8th grade level, but then those people are starting to talk so weird that I can't take it to that level anymore.
Even 8th graders, yeah.
Because their language is just crazy nowadays.
Well, even in our legal agreements, I say we make those plain English as much as possible. My favorite phrase that I want to get at is like, notwithstanding the foregoing. Yeah. Who talks like that?
Yeah.
Lawyers.
Yeah.
I have to talk to them, but I don't understand what they're saying half the time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, more lawyers are becoming more plain English because they're saying, no, we don't talk like that anymore. We can stand listening to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a good idea, and then you always you have to look at your target market. How is the people that you actually want to engage with and buy from you, how do they speak? And don't try to chase down every trend. I mean, I've written about that, at least 3 or 4 articles, like, don't go running after the latest thing, because by the time you figure it out, it's the last thing that nobody wants to hear about.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We're done with that.
Well, the concept was a flash in the pan, and you're still stuck with it, and you look like you're dated.
Exactly. Everybody's like, oh, you mean you didn't catch that we've moved on? And is that really the audience you want? No.
Well, the other thing too is a lot of people, they don't speak finance. And so if you're going to talk to a venture capitalist, you need to be able to, you need to speak to them in the language they want to hear. Otherwise, they look at you and go, I don't think you really understand this game. If I was calling a football game, oh, he throws the pass. Yeah, it's a home run. Wait, what? It doesn't, it's like walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, barks like a dog. There's something wrong with that picture.
Yeah.
So, you gotta be mindful of that.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take a look at your website, and then we probably ought to, have a get together sometime and just talk this stuff through, because what you've got, I can probably help you, which we all can. Yeah. I just know that I can with some of the people I'm talking to lately, because they're starting from scratch, yet they're ready to do it. They want to do it. One thing would be good is for them to understand that what they're thinking about is not really a good business decision. That would actually be a good thing. I'd rather not tell them that. Yeah. I'd rather have them figure it out for themselves.
Yeah. Much better to fail on paper before they've.
Right. Better to fail on paper. Exactly.
So maybe what we can do is plan for a future session where you do your walkthrough, your demonstration. We'll broadcast that if you're up for that, Burke.
I am, sure.
Yeah.
I like that. Better to fail on paper. They talk about fail fast.
Right.
It's cheaper to fail on paper. Yeah. And if I hadn't gone way over my budget building this dashboard, you can imagine it's just like it had to work on all the browsers, and so now we can work with Macs and PCs. Otherwise, I had to take a Windows product and build a Mac product. There's no copying one over. You have to start from scratch. So the web thing worked there, and then all this other web stuff behind the scenes. It's like the thing just went crazy out of control. We tried using Indians way back when, but when I told one of the Indian guy developers, I said, how in QuickBooks they do this? He says, "What's QuickBooks?" I went, oh no, you're fired. Yeah. And so I'm using American programmers, so I pay about $100.50 an hour, which is frightening. But
yeah,
they don't need me; they got plenty of business, So, but I'm way over budget because Greg, I want to get to you and talk about the whole Kartra situation, because my shopping cart sucks, and I got no analytics, and I don't know enough about Kartra. But I've used Infusionsoft in the past, and I appreciate all it does and how complex it does and all that kind of stuff. The Confusionsoft part of it, not so much. So I need a guy like you to drive that and tell me what's what. So
he's the best. He is the best. I could never use Kartra without Greg. I have to call. I think I call him too much, but it's the only way I can do this, because you can run your whole business on Kartra.
Well, but I don't have analytics. I can't look in the. What I'd like to have is like, how long do people subscribe for? I don't know. If I was on the Shark Tank, I couldn't answer half their questions, and I know that. It's like, sorry, Mark Cuban, I can't tell you what customer acquisition cost is right now. I pay affiliates, that's about, but the other
Marshall will tell you, like, you can go through, somebody who's been in your ecosystem for a while, what the value of that person is, and they break it down per month, and there's a log, everything they ever did. So I don't know if Roy told you. Roy, we met because he phoned me to help him with his Kartra account.
Yeah.
So that's how we started on this total traffic and conversion.
And all kinds of things have happened from there, but it still goes back to the same thing. I still need help with Kartra. There's so much
you always will. I mean, it's like going out and buying a Learjet. You got to find a pilot who knows how to fly it.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd like to learn, but I mean,
I'd like to learn too. Maybe I will someday.
But you don't need to.
I get a little bit better at it all the time, but I still don't feel comfortable. Yeah. At least I got to have him look at it.
So this is our usual thing. It's Roy will say, "This is what I want to do." So he'll get on Zoom and he'll share the screen, and I'll talk him through the screen, right?
Yeah. because I really do want to learn it.
Yeah.
Or you want to tell somebody, no, you don't want to do that. You want to do something else. I got these guys with a medical product right now saying, you guys are in your late 60s. You want to build a manufacturing company and a distribution network and a sales force and sell this one medical product around the world?
Yeah.
Do you need your head examined? You need to license this thing, build a prototype, get the basic patent on it, and go out and see if the dogs like the dog food. Because if they don't want to use the product, we're toast. But then you find in the process, I got a guy who does medical licensing. Oh no, but we, and what you're going to sell is to the investors. The investor gets a revenue share on the royalties. And then one guy's arguing with me. He said, "Oh no, I want to sell stock in the company because I want." I'm thinking, you have to hurt you. It's just some of these people. So but licensing, because going on building. If I maybe had my whole thing to do all over again, I'd probably want to just license it. So please, somebody else build this monstrosity. But I'm too far down the road. I'm going to finish.
Yeah, you've done it now.
Yeah. I'm up to hearing it.
So it was a sort of software strategy before, is to come up with something, and then you try to swerve and hope to get bought out by Apple or Microsoft instead of being crushed by them, right?
Yeah.
That's the idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But fortunately, in my case, it's the content that's evolved, and the content is basically evergreen. Yeah. It's the technology that drives it keeps evolving, and I can just take the content out and put it in the new thing. And so, but I do need a whole new e-commerce system, because I've got a Frankenstein setup of, I've got one email system doing funnels here. I got a GoDaddy emails doing something over here. I've got another email system sending to everybody else. And then the affiliate system, even the Infusionsoft affiliate system looked like it was fairly easy to use. You click on it. I want this one, click, boom. Mine is a little convoluted, but anyway, so.
I can help you with all of that.
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, I can.
Just got to pay off my previous sins here, and we'll get to that. So.
Well, this is fantastic. So I'm going to take a look at your website, and then after I understand a little bit more, we'll get together and we'll see how we can figure out how to make this thing move forward.
No, Roy, where are you? Are you in the U.S. or are you in Australia?
I'm in the U.S. I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, you're in North Carolina. Whereabouts?
Near Raleigh.
Okay, I have a friend in Raleigh. I should introduce you guys. He's a high-level management consultant.
Great.
He's a coach. I should say. He coaches people, So, and Greg, where are you? Are you in Vancouver? Did I get that right?
Well, I've got a post office box in Vancouver. We're in a little town called Merritt, British Columbia, which is about 3 hours drive northeast.
Toward Whistler, or beyond it, or
that's towards Alberta. So the other way, yeah. So
kind of looks like
it's mostly east. I used to describe it as 3 hours east, but I looked on the map. It's actually probably equal parts east and north.
Wow. Okay. I'm about an hour and a half north of Los Angeles. So
yeah. But
Betty's about 3 hours up the road from me somewhere.
Yeah. So most years we spend the winter in the LA area. So in the Mojave Desert, just north of California City. But, because he usually says, well, California is the place to be in November instead of Canada.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah. But we're doing it backwards this year.
So, Burke, have you got flooding and stuff down your way too?
Not really here. We get all the warnings about flooding, but I'm not seeing that. It's really tragic to see nice fresh water going out into the ocean, and we're not capturing it. But really, our big lake is full, so that's good. But everything's getting wet. But what's going to happen? All the plants are going to grow. It's going to be great. They're going to turn green. Then it's going to get dry in the summer, and they're going to turn brown, and they're going to catch on fire. And then we'll have an earthquake. And then we'll have a big debris flow.
Yeah. I wish you could capture that water, because I've been watching your water table for so many years, going down and down and down and down. And now it's probably up there, but it's not going to stay up there.
We don't have
some of the reservoirs are releasing water strategically to try and refill some of the aquifers, the ones that are equipped to do that. But a lot of them aren't, because they were built back when all these things weren't an issue.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember when it was ever an issue before.
I wish we had forests down here like you have in North Carolina. That's what always struck me about driving around Raleigh. Is just you just get woods, just deep woods,
and everything grows so big. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I put a cherry tree in. There's been a lot of years now. It's been over 25 years. That thing is immense. It covers my whole front yard, which is, in a
You're getting cherries off it?
No, but cherry blossoms.
Everything I grow from now on is going to have food hanging on it. I mean, look at an avocado tree. You want money grows on trees? Yeah. For $2 for an avocado, even here? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got avocado trees on the land up in Big Sur, but I can't get there right now.
Oh no.
Plus, I haven't been able to get there since New Year's, Burke. And
wow.
but one of the things that happens when you have excessive rainfall is that the avocados blow up like water balloons and turn black, and they're all over the ground, and it's gross. And then the wildlife comes in and eats them, and it's all part of the cycle.
Yeah.
So they ripen more quickly. Is that what it is?
Well, if there's just all this water that comes in, they just blow up. They're not even ripe. They're just like,
avocados take a tremendous amount of water.
Yeah, but where they're planted, there's an underground stream that goes under that section of the land, and so the trees that we planted ages ago, we don't even water them anymore. They're tapped into the ground.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Until now. Wonderful until now.
Yep. Exactly. There's a lot of food growing up there, and eventually all these conditions will clear up, and I'll be able to get back out there and move on with the plan. It's not the year we planned for. Let's just say that.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Anyway, with that edible plant stuff, my former partner, she used to have a big ornamental garden, but then she got into vegetables. So everything in the whole backyard's all edible, and even she won't even plant a flower unless you could eat it.
Yeah.
Some flowers are good.
Yeah.
Well,
they make for spectacular salads. If you have brightly colored flowers, you put it in the salad. They really look good.
Yeah.
Makes it taste better.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to run, but I'm really glad we got a chance to talk, Burke. This is wonderful. I'm so glad you came.
Took a couple of runs at it.
Yeah. It's been an awesome day all around, you guys.
Last week really sucked. I had a horrific pain in my back. I finally went to the hospital on Friday night, spent about 4 hours, and I got a full blood test, the CAT scan. The doctor comes back and goes, "Well, your blood's clear. That's all good. Your CT scan is clear. And guess what? You don't have any cancer either." Well, that's nice. Still have the pain. Here's some pain-kill pills.
So what do they think the pain is from?
It's just some referral, just something in my back. I just sprung something. I don't know. It's just
chiropractor time.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll get one of those. I got to hang upside down. One of those hang upside down things.
Oh, that works. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. I do the chiropractor thing monthly, so I don't ever have back problems.
I was just surprised he comes in. Oh yeah, and you don't have any cancer.
I didn't know that was an issue.
I'm glad to hear that, but I wasn't expecting that to come back.
It can be an issue, and you don't know it. It's really good that
Apparently, a CT scan, cancer lights up on a CT scan. I don't know how they do that, but it's just like wow.
Yeah, CT scans are good.
I don't know what it's going to cost when I get this bill. That's what's going to give me the heart attack.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to play the little video here and stop the broadcast. We can hang out and chat some more if we want, but I'll play the video.
Okay.
Hey, here we are.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.